Hello everyone. Welcome back. We're going to go ahead and take a look at Bitcoin. We're going to start from the longer turn time frame, then jump to the medium turn time frame, and then jump into the smaller turn time frame. So let's go ahead and get into it. So basically, there are two counts that we're following, two main counts. We have a bullish count and also a potential bearish count. Let's go ahead and jump into the bullish count. So we basically have two variations of the bullish count. The first one really stems off of these structures right here. Stems from this structure and this structure as being part of the same structure. Something like this, as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So visually, this is what I'm looking at for this variation. If these legs are part of the same structure. Now, originally, I actually had this as a fifth wave ending here, and this wave 3 ending here. But due to how we had a sharp retracement that took out this low for this minute wave 4, and how small this is, this impulse, I don't think that it's completed as itself. I think that's this wave 3 right here still has one more push to go, meaning it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I also think we still have one more lower low to do before we actually come up for that high. Target wise, we're looking for a minimum here of 73k, maximum for 97k, but traditionally I'm really looking for this zone right here. I'm looking for 73 to about 81k. After that, we're going to expect a sharp retracement here for wave 4. Timing wise, it's still really on point for an intermediate degree. As of right now, it's 6 months. The more that it extends in time without a correction down, though, we may have to think of this a little more bullish. Meaning, instead of this being a wave 3, this could be another wave 1, and then we get a retrace for a wave 2 instead of a wave 4. So it's a more bullish perspective, which is something that we have been monitoring. This actually was our primary count, but then due to the timing of this impulse up, I saw it more as this. But originally, we were looking at something like this, where this is actually a 1, 2, 1, 2. There's two ways that I can see this happening right now. It really depends on where you put your pivot here for the wave 1. So for this count, we have the pivot ending right here. And then on this version, we have the pivot ending right here. Because there are different ways that you can count this move up. And there are different perspectives to see it. The only way that we can choose which one is more probable right now is really based off the timing of this correction that's unfolding right now. So right now we have this as a completed 1, and same here, we have this complete as a completed wave 1 of a minute degree, and there's another minute degree. Now we're looking for a retrace for a minute wave 2. Minute wave 2. When a correction happens based off of wave degree, this correction, we don't want it to be larger in time than the prior correction. If this corrects longer in time before really taking that high, this will actually be invalidated. because this correction that we're looking for the wave 2 needs to be smaller in time than the prior correction of the higher degree. This is why I favor this count more, because if we look at this as a flat pattern, this gives us a lot more time to play around with. And it's not as strict as this, where it really only demands another 3 weeks of correction. So the length of this correction is really going to tip its hand to help us know if we're in this version or if we're in this version. So timing here is going to be crucial. Now, even though these counts differ right here, this one and this one, we can still use wave degree confluence. Why? Because right here is a ending impulse. Either for a minute one, which is shown right now, right here, or a minor 3. So if we pull up the other counts, we have a minor wave 3 right here. Afterwards, we're going to expect a correction, either for a wave 4 or a wave 2. After that, we're going to expect an impulse up. In this scenario, we're looking for a wave 1. And in the other scenario, we're looking for a wave 5. So although they're different, the underlying trend is there. Meaning, we understand the underlying trend. It's a matter of determining what the higher trend is now. Because right now, the underlying trend is this, no matter what. After this happens, it's a matter of if we're going to have a large correction here for wave 4, or if it's really just going to be a short wave 2 correction, and then it's time for more upside. So, directional confluence is there still. It's a matter of waiting for the underlying trends to play out, so that way we can gauge the overarching trends. For the bearish count, there's really only one count left, and it's a flat pattern. I'm hesitant to really even put any weight behind this. It's still very valid. It's 100% valid. The only thing that has me concerned is basically the strength of this Y wave right here, this intermediate Y wave. Typically with a Y wave, the normal target for a Y wave is about 1236 to the 1618. And it's greatly exceeded beyond that. Typically, I can see a Y wave extending to the 2.236. Usually the 2.0 is kind of an early invalidation sign, but I have witnessed and observed some Y waves extending to the 2.236, 272, which also lines up with a expanded B-flat target. I still expect us to move up here, and I'm still looking for one more high. After that, we want to see an extreme rejection and a strong impulse to the downside. Even at this time, we'll still even have directional confluence for this, because we're going to expect either a strong wave 1 and a retrace for a 2 and a push down for a wave 3, or this will just be a B, C for the wave 4 that we're looking for. Right here. That A, B, C. So we'll still have even more directional confluence at that point too. Once it reaches that point, this is really going to be the turning point for Bitcoin. Once it reaches basically this point right here. So as of right now, I really still I can't put too much weight behind this count. It's valid, And I always preach that. I say if it's valid, you can't discount it. But it may not be the most probable right now at this time. So I'm going to continue to monitor it. To be honest, you really can't invalidate flats until they go beyond the 1382 right here. But due to the extension of this proposed Y wave, if it goes above pretty much this right here, the 1236 or 2.618, it's going to be invalidated to me personally because of the strength of the Y wave. Let's go to jump into the medium term time frame here. Let's go to the hourly. Basically, there's only, honestly, one way that I'm monitoring this right now. And it all has to do with this correction. This A, B, C. And looking at these pivots right here. So on the lower time frame, all we have to really understand is that this is a potential 1 or A or 3. And this is a 2 or B or 4. And this is an impulse up for a 1. Or it could be a wave 3 as well, or a wave Y, which is less probable. So as of right now, keeping in mind these pivots, 1 or A or 3, 2 or B or 4, and now monitoring the timing of this pullback is really what's going to keep us ahead of the game here in the lower time frame. We hit those targets here that we were looking for. Essentially, we were looking for one more push up into this zone to the regular wave 5 targets, and they were looking for a pullback minimally to the 236, 272, to about 60k, which is something that we have gotten. But I don't think it's over. I think we still have at least a companion leg for this leg here. There's several ways I can see this unfolding as of right now. So once again right here, the pivot that we're monitoring on the micro time frame is that this is either a wave 1, or it's a minor wave 3, or it's a potential Y or B, which I still think this is less probable, but once again, it's still valid, so we'll continue to monitor it, and it does provide wave degree confluence. But we're mainly looking at this as a wave 1 or a wave 3. Those are the main ideas. If you place your pivot right here for the ending impulse, the only way I can see this structure right now is it being a regular flat. This correction right here, from the high to the low, is basically 3 waves. 1, 2, 3. It's not a clean 5-wave move, which leaves us only with a few possibilities. First possibility is usually a flat pattern. That's usually the most likely. Second most likely is going to be a WXY, which I don't really see happening right now. And it's a moot conversation because even if this is a W, and if this is an X, the only difference is that we're going to expect it coming down on a 3-wave move instead of a 5-wave move. A 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the only difference. So I'm not really too worried about labeling this a WXY or ABC. I'm thinking more it's either a regular flat that isn't completed, or it's a expanded flat that isn't completed, and we still have a lot more to do, which makes sense if we're in a minute wave 2. Or we could have already completed it if you place your pivot right here, which I have shown right here. We're saying there was a wave, a B wave, expanded B flat, and a C extension. The expanded flat was already completed, and we're impulsing up, correcting, and continue to impulse up. I do think this one is least likely based from a timing perspective, because once again, we're in a minute wave 2. Usually a minute wave is going to be at least a week. Typically, they're usually around 2 weeks. That's their sweet spot, but they usually take at least a week. So if we're timing this right here, let's see. It was March 5th that we made that high. So we're going to look for pretty much March 12th. Pretty much something right here. So we're looking for this minute wave to pretty much be completed around this time frame right here. Target-wise, we really just want to have it take the prior low, this prior A wave. That's the minimum targets. Since we already reached a 236 and 272, from an Elliott perspective, the next target is really going to be that 3414 and 382, which is stacked right on top of that that daily fair value gap. I'm not sure if we will get such a deep retracement like this. If we do, this is obviously going to catch support right here majorly. But once again, we really could just take that low right here and start moving back up. There's a very strong possibility for that. Other than that, we'll have to continue to manage expectations. Although we have 3 different scenarios, once again, we can discern which one is more probable right now, but with more price action, it becomes easier. So if we start to take this low, obviously we know it's this count. If we start to take this high, obviously we know it's this count. If we fail to take this low, and we come and take this low, then take this high, which is showing right here, like this, then we know that we're in this count. So, as always, it's about managing expectations. And that's why I love Elliott Wave. It helps you understand the most probable pivots to occur, and to understand when to expect those pivots to occur and how long for them to occur based off of probability. So, best to wait for right now, review everything that we went over in the stream, and wait for certain price signatures to occur, meaning taking the low first, or taking the high first, or taking this low and then taking that high. These certain signatures in price, the way they move, helps lead to understand which count is going to happen, or which one is more probable in that time period. So we'll continue to monitor this. As of right now, I once again am still favoring this version, this count, and I'm still favoring it being a minute wave 1 as opposed to it being a minor wave 3. That's where my bias leads to right now. If you ever want to discuss these counts in real time, or even other assets, we look at a lot of other assets as well. We do look at a lot of altcoins. We look at the indices, individual stocks. There are some commodities that we take a look at as well. So feel free to jump by the Trading Floor Discord. If you're interested in joining, feel free to reach out to one of the coaches, and we're happy to discuss it with you. And feel free to just message me privately if you don't feel comfortable discussing anything in the server publicly. I'm happy to help out any way I can with some free time. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll catch everyone later for the next stream.